What is up? Drop the lid to my vape down here. I don't think I'll ever find that. Boy, it's like a jungle down there for some reason. But yeah. So, I traveled and I've seen a lot of stuff the last year. Not just trees and birds. Pretty cool birds out here, right? Pretty cool trees too. Seen a whole bunch of pretty cool stuff like that. But this is just me relaxing and still seeing tons of stuff, just relaxing. But I've seen a lot of stuff in this world. I don't know if anyone's ever seen. I've been speaking like everyone knows about what's going on, because I'm seeing this world out here that I'm just assuming everyone's left me in the dark about. And, I've heard from other people telling me directly, kind of to let me know that there are people out here who understand at least some of this stuff going on in this world. It's not what it seems, though. The world isn't at all what I was told it is. Very, very different. I refuse to believe anything I've learned in the past. I refuse to believe anything anyone tells me. Even the people who come up and can tell me my purpose, why I'm thousands of miles away, what I did earlier today, even though no one 3,000 miles away from where I was born should know what I did earlier today. Because even these people who can tell me things that they should not know anything about can't tell me the other things. In fact, sometimes they come to me and ask me questions. That's generally how they get in there, and they get by with talking to me about my personal life, and then they cut to a question, and it really doesn't leave me time to be like, hey, how do you know that? Like, that should be that should be the only question answered in such a situation. There's a lot of different stuff in this world, Maybe I'll make this video about vapes and how they don't work right. How about that? Now, I make this video about people with depression. How about that? And I, of all people, know about this. It's not that coming out here has changed the sickness in my mind any, or made it so once I leave this area that I'm going to return to a perfect life, Barbie doll world, living in the Barbie doll world, because I'm a Barbie doll girl. Driving around in my pink Corvette, just, shaking my titties all the time. I'm doubting that's going to happen, because it hasn't happened yet. I'm hoping it happens, right? Just go into the Barbie girl world, and forever it's peace and happiness, Ken doll, whatever you want to be, right? Suppose I'd probably look more like Ken than a Barbie these days, although a lot of people still think I look like a woman, especially from the back. I can see how that could be confused. Not so much fun. But the depression thing, people suffer with depression. We spend years of our life being sent to doctors by our parents and by our school systems, and then the doctors give us some cool new drugs, and we try the cool new drugs, and the cool new drugs are either really good, or they're really useless, or they're really bad. Or they're a combination of all three. Yeah. Anyways, you do that, life changes, and maybe it works for you. maybe people should be more warned that their life is going to change, and they're going to change, and maybe it'll work even better at that point. But you know what I found? The only real way for me to escape this world, feels like an anchor a lot, is to escape. Try to run away from myself. Try to run away from my situation. That's actually kind of helped a lot. That's helped a lot. They say don't run away from your problems. It's like, well, if your problem's a big bear, and if you're not, a borderline psychopath like me, you're probably going to choose to run from a big bear, right? Don't run away from your problems. Or if there's a T-Rex out there, you're just going to grab one of my machetes here and decide it's time to chop down the T-Rex. Can you guys even see the machetes? I put them there just for visual display so they could look cool and stuff. It's hard for me to navigate. We're balancing on a log right here. Even the tripod balancing on a log. So I got that set up magically. Hopefully that little fly doesn't land on it and upset the balance. But, maybe you should run away from your problems. Maybe your problems are the situation you're in. Maybe the problems are the environment you're in. Maybe like me, the problems are you're just bored with everything, and it all needs a change. And then I get bored again, and it's all got to change again. And then I'll get bored again, right? And it'll all have to change again. And sometimes it feels like the only solution for me is just to keep running. Running from myself, running from the past, running to the future. We're not just running from things, we're running to things. So that's negative thinking. We're running from our problems. Or maybe we're running to the answer. Are we running from the problem? Or are we running to a possible solution to the problem? People with depression, I urge you to reevaluate your life, to look around, see what you're doing. Are you doing enough? Are you complacent with 8 to 16 hours a day of TV? Maybe that's why your life isn't so happy, because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe that's what's going on. And if the camera's shaking a little bit, hopefully no one gets motion sickness. Again, I'm seriously on a tree here. Not necessarily. When you think of log, you think of log, but this is a tree stump. Natural, broken at the top, and way out there is the end of the tree. Not really way out there. I don't know how actually, yeah. I guess if we follow the first broken part, there's way out there. So, if you got motion sickness, take some Dramamine or whatever pills. If you actually if you got motion sickness or nausea or any of that stuff, and you got some medication or some tips for me, let me know, because I developed some sort of nausea issue, and it's hard to obtain those pills and obtain pain medication, which I don't obtain really either at this point, and I'm almost out of nausea, and I've been out of pain medication. That's why I'm sounding like I'm heavily relying on alcohol for something more recently. But if you got some depression, then, the only thing I found to change that is to ignore it. They say don't ignore your problems. They say don't run from your problems. Why? You got a problem? I mean, I guess there's some issues I should be dealing with. I probably shouldn't. There's maybe some bank statements, maybe some credit cards I should be paying off, and I'm just Woo! See you later. Sail away. No little help to doctors injecting me with stuff that literally took all my cares in the world away. And still recovering from that. Still getting prescribed that. Still not using it, but still looking at it every day like, maybe I should take that again, and I'll just stop caring about everything. I just, I gotta breathe. I already stopped eating pretty much. I already stopped checking my bank accounts like right after I got injected. It was just like, whoo, I had this whole line of financial availability to me. Even though I didn't have a job, I had like rebates and cash back and all this stuff set up where I was actually like living kind of cool. Like, it looks like I've got money, don't it? Illusions, magic. I'm the master magician. But if you got some issues, if you don't like the situation you're in, get out of it. Run from it. Get away from it. Get away from everything you're doing. If you're not happy, the stuff around you is not making you happy. What you're doing, think of this when you're not happy. What are you doing right then? Right then. What are you doing right then that's making you not happy? Try to think of what you've been doing in the hours leading up to that where you may not have felt unhappy. Think about the days before that, the weeks before that, months before that, years before that. What did you do during those hours of those days where you felt less than, more than unhappy? Do that. You don't have to rely on doctors and pills. You don't need a psychologist. I've been to like people who are in the psychology field and all this stuff, and me personally, I go to them and I start analyzing them. I don't even think they know who I am at the end of the day. I'm sure they don't, because I don't even tell them. You can't tell someone who I am in a little half-hour interview. You'd have to follow me for months, years, to begin to unravel the confusion you would experience the first few days of trying to take a guess at who and what I am. I'm 40 years in this thing. You think I know who the hell I am? How are you going to sit me down for 30 minutes and tell me who I am? You, though, you can take your own problems. Just cremate care, cast it to the wind. Stop worrying about those problems. Get up, do something. Maybe getting up ain't really what you want to do. Maybe you just want to watch a good movie. Go and do that. Maybe you want to play a good game. Rainbow Six Siege sounds awesome right now. What game's everyone playing right now? Cyberpunk 2077. That game looks awesome. It's got Keanu Reeves in it. Man, if you like video games and you're depressed, what are you doing sitting around being depressed right now? Cyberpunk 2077, right? That looks so hype. That game came out, and I swear all the ads were talking to me. I was like in the middle of this Antifa army, pillaging the town and stuff. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, wow, they're talking about a future where there's like these gangs fighting for control, and there's all these options. And I was like, wow, is this what the future is really going to turn into? So I'm done with games at this point. I'm like, well, this is a game. There's this game out here. There's something going on here. And I call it a game these days. It's definitely what every game in the world is mirrored off of, if it in itself is not some sort of virtual playland. Because many people aren't even participating in a game activity within the playland. So it doesn't mean it's necessarily a game, a virtual playland. Some call it the real world. Maybe it's the original virtual playland, right? But if you're depressed, if you're feeling like killing yourself, let me tell you, man, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a hard to kill, right? And maybe that's just that. Maybe it's just been a waste of time every time I tried that. Maybe I haven't tried hard enough. Maybe I need a high-powered weapon. Maybe I need like a bazooka. Maybe I need some C4. But I've tried a lot of other stuff. Like I said about the nausea at the start. It's the reason why they won't prescribe my nausea medicine when I'm on the pain medicine is because it kills everyone else who takes it together. But I take that stuff together all the time when I have it. That's one reason why they won't prescribe it, is because they're worried I'm going to kill myself. It's like, I've been taking this stuff. It's not killing me yet. Not the answer. It's not the answer I'm allowed to receive. I'm told I got bigger things to do than that. And you know what? I spend so much time sitting around. I can't ever knock my past, because would I be here today if I changed it from the start? Maybe I'd be even further, but I wouldn't be here today, right? So where I have come, though, it's provided a lot of excitement, a lot of interesting things to see, crazy stuff that most people are probably never going to see in their lifetime if they're just sitting around. And I implore you, if what it takes is to shut this video off right now and get up and go outside, then that's what you got to do. Your views on my video are not what matters to me. What matters to me more than views on my video is you doing what you want to do, doing what you need to do, taking care of yourself, and having a good life. That's the whole purpose of a lot of the last 10 years of the time I've dedicated to what I do and the learning I've done to improve life for others. I don't expect to be around a long time. I don't expect to be the major beneficiary of any of the actions I've taken. And the past I lay claim to eventually being the one who gets to the end of. That's done mostly for other people. Sure, I might encounter some riches and treasures along the way. I might encounter some gratitude, some friendship. Maybe even one day some fame. It's not about that. It's about putting forth what I have to offer. And the ego says I got a lot to offer. And the ego isn't saying that so much as strict analytical, logical observation of what has been happening around me and within me. One of those factors that gets in the way of everything is depression. But even then, I can look at that positively if I want, because I understand this maybe more than anyone. I'm lucky I'm still alive, supposedly, right? A lot of other people who felt the way I've felt in my life are not with us today. It is kind of hard to kill yourself. You've got to know exactly where to cut. You've got to be able to precision cut. You've got to, even then, your body heals fast. You got to do something crazy, like throw yourself in a wood chipper. It's not designed to be so easy to exit this world. But people with depression, you guys should get up, do something. Do something to keep your mind off that. That's how it works. The Bible says idle time is a devil's play toy. And you know what? whatever you think of the Bible or the devil, that phrase is true. Idle time is just not a good play toy. That's what that means. Whatever you think of the Bible or the devil, what that phrase is supposed to mean is sitting around and doing nothing is going to be when some stuff you don't really want to go on is going to go on. Because what you need to do is you need to do what you want to do. And hopefully I don't guide anyone into being a homeless person on the street, but I mean, for me, it was just as easy as picking up and moving on. I had no way to support myself. I still don't. I'm just being supported by the world around me, by the universe. Weird stuff happens. This suit, I couldn't afford the normal price you guys pay for you guys' normal clothes. But I've been gifted with this. I've been gifted with things, I've been gifted with knowledge. And I seek knowledge. And the knowledge, as well as other gifts which magically appear in this world, and other things which magically appear in this world, has supported me. It gets to the point sometimes where when I'm hanging out with homeless people, I wonder, if they kind of don't want to be in that situation. Like me right now, I really don't want a house. So I'm living in my vehicle. And I need to watch what I say there, because sometimes I think that vehicle takes a lot of effort to maintain it. It takes a lot of money and gas. Just as much as a house, probably, right? So to call me homeless at this point is weird, because I'm probably spending just as much on gas as everyone else is spending on a house. Although everyone else might be spending just as much in gas as I am. Probably not as much, though. Especially not with the COVID stuff. But if you're depressed, get up and go do something. Find what you like. You got to do that. If you're depressed, you're gonna be like me. You're gonna pick up a guitar and you're gonna try to play it and you're gonna suck at it and you're gonna be like, I suck at this. And that's that. That just makes the depression worse, don't it? But it pays off after a long time. It pays off. Maybe some people, some things pay off in a shorter time. I picked up a drum set, which is what I really wanted to play, but I knew no one wanted to hear that, and I got kicked out of houses I was in for having a guitar. You get kicked out for having a drum set. You get kicked out of the whole neighborhood, and you get kicked out hour, 0.15, 15 minutes later, you get kicked out. That's technically, 0.25. But I did that, and I could play drums right away. Maybe it had a lot to do with my previous spending tons of time playing guitar and learning that. But eventually, those things turned from tools, from things that pissed me off and made me more depressed, because I realized just how much I sucked at that stuff, to things that took my mind off of this stuff. It made me realize, if I just did this earlier and ignored all that stupid depression stuff, I could have did this a long time ago. But who might argue that if I did, if I focused my life on drums and guitar, would I be where I am right now, trying to do what I am? No. I would have been on a stage, being a rock star, probably. Not worried at all about what's going on in the world, not thinking at all that I knew everything about politics, geopolitics that has been happening in the last 100 to 2,000 years. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying if you want to cure it, the answer is to do something. Stop sitting around and thinking about it. And no psychologist is going to profit off you coming into their office and them saying, well, why don't you get out of my office and go do something fun and interesting? They make $15 per person. There wouldn't be any pills to sell. There wouldn't be many follow-up visits. So there's no benefit to them saying that. And plus, that's kind of rude, right? You come to me crying. You got blood on your hands because you just tried to slit your wrist and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know some technical, complicated thing that probably won't even work if you attempt it because it has such a low success rate if you study it and know what you're doing right. People don't want to hear it. People these days are like, they don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear what they don't want to hear. People don't want to hear what might offend them, even though it might help them later. But if you're depressed, I don't know, man. Try to stop crying about that stuff. Stop thinking about it. Move on. Do something else. Get your head right. Get your head somewhere else. Your head's drowning in depression right now. Go drown it in something else. Drown it in Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe you don't even like new games. You like Mario Brothers. You like Warcraft. Go drown your head in Mario Brothers and Warcraft. I don't care what society says. Video games ain't bad for you. Video games ain't wrecking the children's minds. They ain't taking over society. Not if it makes you feel good. Hell, half of these video games is knowledge hidden in a cool, fun format to trick you into doing something where you learn something and you don't even know you learned it. You think you're playing a game and you're learning something instead. Many people claim to Call of Duty. Stuff like that. It's like war games. They probably raise excellent soldiers with excellent tactics, especially if you play like Squadron and stuff like that, where it literally is, or Arma, where it's literally just teaching you military tactics. So you probably know how to do that better than people in the military who've only taken a few weeks in that and then had to do basic boot camp every day, have to make their bed every day, have to shine their shoes every day. You just played Arma all day long every day. Now you know everything about that. You just played Squadron every day. Now you know everything about that. The only thing you don't know is what it's like to have your boots on the ground and to take a bullet. But, at the end of the day, the goal is to never take a bullet, isn't it? But if you're depressed, you move on. That's how you solve it. That's how it's done. That's what that phrase, idle hands is the devil's play toy. That's what that means. It doesn't mean some dude in red with some horns is going to come up with this heavy metal guitar and go, fuck you. And right? It doesn't mean that at all. It means that when you're sitting around doing nothing, people in the past have probably experienced that bad and negativity comes from that. So the people find a way to keep themselves busy so they can't focus on the bad and the negativity. They can move on from that. So if you're depressed, stop being depressed. Stop thinking about it. I know it's harder than that. I know more than you about that, right? I'm talking to myself right here, aren't I? I'm looking at myself while I'm talking at the very least. What you got to do? You got to find something to do. You got to find something to do besides sitting around and being depressed about things. That's the answer. That's the best answer. You're sitting around, you're thinking about it, you're feeling about it, you're being about it. Change it all. Change it all. Turn this video off right now. If this video is making you depressed, turn it off. Get out of here. Go do something. There's some butterflies outside. Go chase them. Go chase the butterflies. Go play Cyberpunk 2077. You know, go shopping. Some people like shopping. I kind of like shopping, kind of getting over it at the same time. People say don't use drugs to cure depression. Yeah. They go to the doctor and the doctor sells them some drugs. What do you think of that? What do you think God created all this stuff for? What do you think? You think the person who created this world was just like, oh, we're going to create a bunch of poisons, so idiots will take the poison and we can laugh at them, and we'll call them drunks and crackheads and dope fiends and junkies. You think like the person who designed this world had that in mind? We're going to call them Zoloft heads. We're going to call them Death and Coke freaks. We're going to call them Ambien ass. I'm going to start trying to keep words out of here so children can view my videos, because I feel like at the end of the day, those are probably the people I can touch the most. And not like that. Not in an Epstein type of way. Right? Not interested in that, bro. You got to be above this height to ride this ride. But just, give it up. I know it's harder than that. What do you think? I'm going to turn this video off, go back to my car. I'm going to be right back to where I was before, right? Am I there right now, though? Am I there right now? Am I in that depressed state I was when I was sitting around in my car doing nothing, watching YouTube videos? No. I just climbed the mountain, cleared my own path, chopping everything down that's in the way. No remorse, no time to look back. A lot of times depression is probably caused by remorse and looking back. You've done something wrong. You feel negative about that. I understand that. But you got to move on. The other person, they understand that too. In fact, in my experience with other people who I may have done wrong, and that rests heavy upon my conscience, I reanalyze a lot of those situations, and I'm like, I don't even think those people had a conscience. So the simple fact that I can feel bad about the wrongs I may have done them makes me feel like I'm probably the superior moral person in that situation, and it's time to pack that baggage up and drop it off at the Goodwill. The better you drop it off at the landfill. No one else wants that baggage. No one else wants that. Take it straight to the landfill. Just don't even waste time taking it to the landfill. Put it outside. Garbage man come and collect it. And that's it. So if you got some depression, look at the cause, look at why you're feeling, you know why you're feeling that way. And I can tell you, the number one cure for that is to stop thinking about it. I ain't riding you hard. I ain't calling you a little BI because you're sitting around crying all the time. It must be perfectly natural if it's been programmed into this environment and into the people in it. But what I'm saying, stop thinking about it and move on. If you're one of these people who are really, really in touch with feelings and emotions, you're a rare person. One of the things you can get over that is what I just said. Is these other people, they ain't all like that. That's why a lot of them can't show depression, because they don't feel depression, and they don't really feel the other stuff either. Although some of them can very well emulate some of these emotions, and they don't actually have any. Maybe some people are so depressed themselves and so good at hiding it that they have no more emotions to give. But this answer is what works. You can go to someone and they talk to you about your problems and that solves it. Maybe that does work for some people. That wouldn't work for me. That sounds stupid. I've never done it. Maybe it worked perfect for me, right? Maybe they tell me the same thing I'm saying right now. Or at least half of it, right? Because if you told me the first half, you wouldn't make any more money. I wouldn't need any more return visits. Just go out there and do what you want to do. A lot of people, maybe you got some crazy thoughts in your head. You're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the world's best rock star." Like, that's what I want to be, but I can't be it. So I'm just gonna, instead of being the world's best rock star or working towards it, I'm just gonna be depressed about it because I know I can't be it. Instead of going out and getting what you want, I go out there, I'm pretty messed up because I'm however old, I've been through this world, and I've not met a female who I would keep by my side for a long period of time. And it's kind of messed up because it's like, wow, what am I just in this world alone? But my dumb still pushes forward and tries to talk to people and tries to find this diamond out here, or at least someone to spend time with until then, right? But I can let it get to me. I can sit around and let it get to me. I can attempt to do something else. Going to the gym fix me right up until my joints get broken or something, and then I got a year sitting around being depressed because I can't move, and I'm worried about going and getting a wheelchair and living in a wheelchair the rest of my life, something like that. Yeah, that happens. Apparently, things happen to people in this world. We'll figure out what's going on, hopefully sooner than later. But until then, the answer to this being depressed stuff is getting out here, doing stuff, getting away from all that. Where you're sitting at now, if you're depressed, that whole environment you're in, every now and then, at the very least, that's going to bring back that memory. Remember when I was sitting around here being depressed about everything in my life? And ain't nothing changed. And now I'm still sitting here and nothing changed. So it's just time to go back to being depressed. Get out of that environment. You're sitting there, you're doing what you normally do, right? Let's say you're normally playing a video game and you're getting depressed because the game sucks and all the new games suck. There ain't nothing new. You played everything there is. Put it down. Go do something else. Go to the gym. You're getting tired of going to the gym every day, or you can't because you're in a wheelchair and you mess up. I don't know what to tell you about being in a wheelchair. I can't help you there. I'm not. Then again, I have been to the point where I kind of can't move, and I'm kind of using, all sorts of stuff right now to make it so I can move, and I just ignore the pain. That's what it is, right? I'm not caring anymore. I'm not caring anymore about being depressed. I'm not sitting around worried about that. I'm moving on and doing whatever I can find. Do I want to be out here hanging with the ferns and the moss and the flies and the trees? Well, we got some machetes there, so yeah. I mean, that's interesting there. Throw the machetes into the mix, and now you piqued my interest. The rest of it, if I sit around and thought, I go back to the car and I'm going to think about this. I'm going to be like, man, I'm spending my days in the forest. How lame is that, right? I'm out here, not feeling it right now, am I? Not at all. I feel like I'm the king of the world up here on the top of the mountain. I'm the path I've carved my own self.